how the book starts off is it gives a really unique definition of creativity. Here's how Rick defines creativity. He says, creativity is not a rare ability. It's not difficult to access. We all engage in this act on a daily basis. To create is to bring something into existence that wasn't there before. It could be a conversation, the solution to a problem, a note to a friend, the rearrangement of furniture in a room, a new route home to avoid a traffic jam. And so knee-jerk reaction to that for me is he breaks creativity down to it's just something that we do in almost every moment. It's almost like a way of just moving throughout the world. And I'll start off with my reflection. The very first thing he does is defines creativity as a response to what's going on around you. I've actually heard this in a different way. It's called the following state. And the following state is constant creative response to what's happening around you. To me, that's part of what makes life fun. Creativity brings me joy. And I really like how breaking this definition of creativity down to a moment by moment thing can bring joy in the moment by moment. Two questions. One is just reflections on how he defines creativity here. And how about we start there?
He started off the book in a way that grabbed me right away, because my favorite thing about this book is the fact that Rick Rubin is able to explain things in a way that I'm not able to, but they're exactly how I feel. So just the concept of rearranging furniture in a room and then somebody walking in and saying, hey, I would have never thought to do that. It's like, hey, it's creativity. That's merely what it is.
And what's really powerful about how this started off is like, okay, someone like me. So what I do as my full-time job, I'm in business. I'm in human resources right now. And you wouldn't think of that as a creative thing. So you're making music that's traditional art. And he says creativity doesn't have to be the traditional forms of art.
My question for you is, as an artist, specifically someone who makes music, it was so easy for me to relate to this book. There were so many things in this book that like just blew my mind that he was able to put into words that I have never been able to. But like I said, I've felt them before. So how have you been able to relate to the way that he defines creativity with what you do?
Creativity has been something that I've known is there, but has been hard to verbalize or articulate how that's coming out. There's a moment that stands out when you ask that question for me. It was when I was with my work colleagues and we went into this small artist shop, and we're all business people and he has his art everywhere. And I asked him, do you think that there is creativity in what we do in business? And he was dead set on it. And since then, I've been really thinking about the place creativity has in my life. And I think that's why this book related to me right away, because he's defining creativity as just a creative response to what's happening. And so
he was able to articulate how you've been creative throughout these years without you actually kind of knowing it in a way.
That's right, because what Rick Rubin does is he ends up zooming out and he expands creativity to this unfolding that's happening in life. And so everyone just being a part of this larger system. He relates like you and me to strokes of paint on a canvas, saying we're just these individual strokes. You can't see that fuller picture. And as long as you're in tune with who you are and don't have this constant filter, you can be authentic and kind of be part of this calling. So another thing that's interesting is he says creativity is from the source. If you notice, one thing throughout the book is he uses the word source and he capitalizes the word source. I saw the way he defined source. It almost was like his definition of God. He was like, all this creative thoughts that we're having, it's all coming from something outside of us, something bigger than us. And we're just antennas for this to come through. That's his proposal in this book.
Yeah, and I think he did a great job of explaining how spirituality can really help you find your calling as a creative without using religious terms or without bringing politics into it. He said something in one chapter about how grace will take you places, like just let grace take you there and things like that. And it's very spiritual, but it's not political.
He really just talks from fundamental concepts, which is great. That's part of it that makes it really relatable. I gave a long-winded answer, but ultimately, I feel like this book made me feel like I'm part of this unfolding. I'm part of what's getting us to a better tomorrow. And so it's helped me to think about, okay, how can I get us to a better tomorrow? And that in and of itself is creativity.